Well, the best in my field. That's a bit tricky because I do lots of different things. I mean, for WadzPay, I'm the head of risk and compliance, but I also have another technology company I work for, and I do various other things. In particular, I do quite a few charity things as well, or voluntary things. I'm very interested in making sure that the world I leave to my kids is a better world than the one I inherited. So I do a lot around trying to prevent further destruction of rainforests and trying to encourage replanting of mangroves and things like that. So it's pretty hard for me to pin down what I would need to do to be the best in my field. I think one of the interesting things is I really got into social media a few years ago, and I've been really pushing myself mercilessly on several platforms. So I've done lots of different things on social media, and what's quite fun is I do get recognized for that as a senior influencer in fintech and shortech and various other things. But whether that means you're recognized as the best or just the noisiest, that's a different matter. Yeah, basically my job to a 5-year-old is to stop Anish and the rest of the senior management team getting into big trouble and getting their toys taken away and sent to bed early. If I can help stop that happening, then I've done my job. I'm busy. I got quite a few different things going on, so I try to work as efficiently as possible. I'm actually quite used to working at home or in coffee shops. I tend to find that the best way for me to deal with things is to deal with them quickly and get them out of the way. I do need space to sit and think. So one of the important things that I do is I normally switch off notifications on almost every app and every device. There's one or two exceptions, which I don't, but I find it very important that I can sit and focus for an hour or so and get some work churned out. Guess what? If the email doesn't get read for an hour, it's not the end of the world. So I find that having constant notifications is very distracting. So I tend to switch pretty well everything off except, as I say, one or two vital channels which I want to know about pretty quickly. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty well everywhere. One of the things that, going into my background a little bit, I really wasn't very good at school. I was not a good student, and I had to play a lot of catch up when I left school. So I did all my major qualifications by part-time study. I did a part-time diploma, then a part-time degree, then a part-time master's degree, which I passed by the age of about 35. So it was really a long haul process for me. But what that's taught me is to never stop learning, never stop picking up something new, never stop getting interested in something new. I've been particularly interested in digital ledger technology for about 4 or 5 years, and I keep doing little courses and little refreshers. I've done things like hyperledger courses and things like that, just to try and make sure that my knowledge gets up to date and stays up to date as much as possible. I did an online fintech course via Hong Kong University a couple of weeks ago. I've just finished that. And I tend to attend a lot of online webinars and seminars where I think there's educational value as well. I read books online, and I read old style books as well. I have a whole bunch of old big books downstairs too. So I think that lifelong learning thing is critical in any profession, not just in the one I've chosen. So I value my leisure time a lot, and I prefer to spend as much time as I can with my family. I've got 3 kids, all teenagers, so they don't sort of want to spend as much time with dad as they used to. So I have to make sure that I do things with them that they enjoy. And a lot of my time is spent trying to work out what they would like to do, and we try and do things together and have as much fun as possible. Of course, they're all at a critical point in their education as well, so we try and give them as much support as we can to make sure that they do better at school than I did. In terms of specific hobbies that I enjoy, well, I am quite an outdoors sort of person, so I do spend a lot of my time walking. I live right in the north of Singapore, and it's not too difficult for me to get to the beach. I live near a little island here called Coney Island, which has about 2 kilometers of sand on it. So it's great to get up there early in the morning before it gets too hot and have a walk around up there. I do some other stuff as well. I like swimming, and I like some other outdoor activities. I used to do a lot of horse riding when I was younger, but not so much now. I'm too big and it's too scary for the horses. But I also have lots of other activities I enjoy at home as well. I do a lot of reading. I talked about that before. And also I have been having fun with cryptocurrencies for quite a long time. So I do investigate and sprinkle minor investments in new coins and things as they come along. I find it interesting looking at the underlying technologies and working out whether they've really got a chance to change the world. And I think generally that's the stuff that really gets me excited, is when I see new solutions and new ideas that hopefully will make the world a better place in the future. Well, probably most people don't know that I really used to be into horse riding in my 20s. So I used to do it quite often. Every weekend I had a really big horse, as you can imagine, because I'm a pretty big guy. And I used to take that horse onto the beach, to the top of mountains, and all the way through the forests where I used to live in the UK. So I might not look like much of a horse rider now, but it was something I really enjoyed back in the day. Yeah, I think the biggest issue being a risk manager is you've got to be able to listen. You've got to understand what the issues are you're facing, and then you've got to be a good problem solver. You've got to work out how we can navigate some of the challenges and come out of the front of that effectively. I think one of the big problems with a lot of people, not a lot, but certainly some people in the risk and the compliance teams around the world, they often perceive themselves as sort of blockers or defenders, trying to protect against big problems. For me, it's more a case of you need to try and understand that problem. You need to break it apart. You need to understand why it's an issue for the business, and understand how you can help the business move forward. I mean, a short way of saying this is that, I actually want the business to take as much risk as it possibly can, but I want the business to also understand the consequences if some of those things go wrong. So for WadzPay, probably the biggest single challenge we face is that we're right at the cutting edge of what is acceptable from a regulatory point of view. Trying to understand the position from a compliance perspective and a risk perspective is challenging when the goalposts are moving pretty well all the time in every jurisdiction. So one of the things that I spend a lot of my time doing is really scanning the horizon. What are the new articles? What are the new interviews with senior regulatory people? where does it look like they're moving, and we can try and predict and position ourselves effectively so that we're going to be compliant not just tomorrow or next week, but in 3 to 5 years' time. It's critical that we get a good understanding of that long-term perspective and build our company from the start with compliance and a compliance culture right at the heart of WadzPay. Well, I think one of the big issues for digital currency, cryptocurrency, however you want to put it, is that it's taken some time for regulation to catch up with what's actually going on in business practice. And this means that there's been quite a worrying sense of is cryptocurrency generally being used for bad things? Is it used to fund terrorism? Is it used for money laundering? Is there a criminal aspect in general that's perhaps more likely to be an issue in crypto than it is in fiat? Well, my personal view is there probably isn't. I think there's bad people do bad things in any currency they can get their hands on. But I do think it's important that regulation catches up with the digital world as soon as possible, so that we understand exactly how the future of these assets is going to look and how they're going to work. I think one of the most interesting developments for the whole of this space, but specifically for WadzPay, is the emergence not just of stable coins but of central bank digital currency. As regulators and central banks start to move hand in hand to make digital currencies for their own jurisdictions, I think a solution like WadzPay is tailor-made to move in and capitalize and support those developments. This is the sweet spot for us as a business, and I really think that's where the future is. I think the challenge in this sector is really keeping yourself up to speed, but at the same time not getting distracted. There's a lot of noise all the time. There's new things coming out every day. This year alone, we've had so much noise around NFTs, non-fungible tokens, so much around the different new coins that are launched, all showing that they're going to do all sorts of wonderful different things. It's very important as a professional that you keep abreast of all these changes, but also keep a sense of perspective. Which of these things are really going to have some long-term meaning for our business and for the business world generally, and which ones are just fluffs and puffs of smoke? I really do feel at the moment that the crypto space, and to some extent the tech space generally, feels pretty well like it did at the end of 1999. So we all know what happened in the early 2000s. There was a real boom and then there was a bust. And I think it's important we keep our perspective, understand that there is a lot to offer. The future is definitely going to be in distributed ledger technology. There's no doubt about that. It's the future of financial services, but we need to make sure we focus on the sound business approach to all of these things to make sure it's practical, pragmatic, and something that will still be around in 3 or 5 years' time, not something that's going to disappear like some sort of dot-com bust.